What's the went through school just to realize you couldn't stand the sight of blood of your job field. Got a prestigious degree in finance and economics, realized I sincerely hate the type of people who work in finance. Edit, not all of them of course, but you all know that guy who thinks Wolf of Wall Street is a documentary about him. I teach English to kids aged 3-9 in China. I can't tell you how many people I've met while teaching abroad that either can't stand kids and or constantly complain about how the country is so different from their own. Being able to handle children and adapt to new surroundings are two of the biggest requirements to do the job. There's quite a few pilots that are scared of heights. I work in a pathology, bacteriology lab, so basically if you're at all squeamish, you've got no chance. I took swabs from a chunk of necrotic tissue on my second day, and I'll never look at fried mushrooms the same way again. Had a teacher in my nautical academy that found out he was chronically seasick. Many people become a lawyer only to discover they hate practicing law, because they didn't really understand what that meant when they went to law school. Law is very boring, involves a lot of rote work which has little practical effect on a case, and is ultimately soul-sucking. Being a lawyer involves very little grandstanding in courtroom. Many lawyers never do that. Even trial lawyers, like you see on TV, only get a couple trials a year at best, and some go years between trials. The only kinds of lawyers in court every day are criminal attorneys. Sound engineer. I'm sensitive to loud noises. Should have thought that one through. My brother-in-law went through seminary and got a job as a youth pastor, only to find he absolutely could not speak in public. He does construction now. Started my own freelance business, then realized I hate people, I hate kissing ass, and I hate stressing about clients paying on time. Went to school for firefighting, had a classmate drop out because he was afraid of heights. Got a master's in psychology. Don't like people. What a bunch of bastards. Human resources. Went through school to realize I couldn't lay someone off. Honestly, terminations for cause are pretty bad, but at least they did something to cause it. I'm talking about downsizing. I went to massage school with a girl who realized she didn't want to touch people for a living. Spent a lot of time honing my voice and manner skills because I seemed to have a talent for customer service. The only problem is I figured out that I hate people in general. Bartending. Going through years and years of being hazed by co-workers and regulars, constantly being given the shit jobs, sometimes literally, in the entire bar. All the back pain from stocking heavy SSH, being the last one to leave almost every night. All that just to find out you don't like dealing with people at all, especially when they're drunk. That or you're sober, which I've seen a couple times and just seems awful. Going to school for vet nursing or veterinary and then realizing you are scared of certain animals like mice or rats. Edit, you also have to be able to separate individual behaviors of individual animals from a whole species. Inevitably you will be scratched, bitten or injured by a stressed animal. I have several scars, but I separate those experiences from other animals of the same species, and I've also learned how to handle and read their body language better, even small animals like rats and mice. Thrilled about all the responses. It is a challenging profession, and not everyone is able to go through putting animals down or having to cause a bit of pain to heal them in the end. So many people don't finish the degree, but that's the same with many professions. Love you, Reddit. Being a mover, we would frequently go through new hires that can't hang. You would laugh at how many times we've walked into a house and the new guy goes, "We have to move all of this." And I go, "Yay," twice. Or when a customer asks to move one thing again because they found a new spot, or there is a couch at the new place to move. I see people just get disheartened and annoyed. Bitch, that's our job. You are here to move people's things until they do not need you to move their things anymore. You are also getting paid by the hour, so stfu. Moving attracts some amazingly hardworking and kind people, and also bottom of the barrel digits. Every day is interesting lol. My friend applied to be in the RAF. Failed the medical because he is colorblind. This was the first he knew about it. He was 21. Friend went to become a vet tech before realizing she was allergic to cats. Grew up with dogs only. Spend years learning about electricity and circuit design only to discover you are colorblind and can't determine which wire is which. I had nightmares in college about failing lab finals because I had been afflicted with spontaneous colorblindness. I was dead set on being a video game developer. Started in QA, saw the endless hours of crunch, the devs working 80+ hour weeks without showers or shaving. Smelled the funk of hundreds of unwashed bodies, the crossed fingers at reaching publisher milestones for bonuses that would hopefully make it all worthwhile, and the constant fear that they wouldn't get picked up for the next project so they could keep getting paid and keep making mortgage payments. Decided that I'd rather be in systems in lieu of development and never looked back. Major in journalism. I'm antisocial and I live under a rock. Has anyone said chef afraid of knives? Chef afraid of knives here. Went through a rather longer apprenticeship learning how to cut meat just to figure out I couldn't stand the cold of the cutting room. Toughed it out long enough to get promoted to manager so I didn't have to be in it if I didn't want to be. I own an in-home childcare. I hate germs, boogers, poop and messes. I got a job only to realize that I can't stand getting out of bed every morning. Going through rigor school to safely secure loads to a crane only to refuse to work at heights. Before that, going all the way through basic and tech training, and the first year on your first duty station, just to break down into a sobbing wreck at the prospect of your first deployment ever to the safest base in the region. Taking computer science classes so I could be a programmer. I never really had issues with dyslexia that much until I had to take college-level math. After 3 years of repeated failing algebra, I was like, this is just turning out to be a big waste of time and money. I had to give up on my dream job. Got a master's in engineering to realize I hate sitting at a desk all day. Aerospace engineers who don't want to make military tools. Went through the PhD process just to realize it's not at all like science classes in college, only harder. It's about doing original research, which college classes, and even most undergrad research experiences, don't accurately emulate or prepare you for. It turns out that the skill sets to be a high-achieving science student and to be a research scientist have surprisingly little overlap. I work for 911 and it's pretty difficult and long hiring process to get on board. People go through hoops that take a few months to find out they can't handle the stress of emergencies. Not that I fault them, most people haven't had to deal with real emergency situations before. Became an airline pilot. Met my now wife. Realized being away from home 25+ days a month isn't the life for me. Have kids now and couldn't imagine being gone so much. Edit, I left the industry. It's a great job with experiences you simply won't have anywhere else. It doesn't even feel like a job. You never see your boss. I wouldn't even have recognized him. You just drive to the airport and jump into a jet and fly it around in all sorts of weather and airports. How f***ing cool is that? If I could do it 9/5 I would go back instantly. The travel didn't bother me even though I'm not much of a tourist. But when you do have a life at home, like a wife or a close group of friends, it feels like your life is on pause 3-5 days a week while everything at home is still going on. There is this increasing segment I'm finding of people, usually over 40, who think that they'll just learn code and get a job within a relatively short period of time. Some do it. Most don't. You design for clients, not yourself. You don't get to have a bunch of fun making goofy sh you like. Edit, some of you all are lecturing me about the nature of graphic design lol. I know. I'm a designer. I love my job and my colleagues, even Sharon in accounting that has no taste. I have good days and bad days at work. just like everyone else. My comment is about those bright-eyed college kids who can't find work or lose interest because they realize that being a designer is a job. You're often at the will of your employer or client, and you can't just make cool things anymore. Your job is to solve a problem and make sure it's on brand with whatever your client wants. It can be a hard pill to swallow for people that think graphic design is all fun and games. It can be. But in a professional setting, it's most likely not. Like and subscribe for more content. And remember to check out Reddit.